Jean-Claude Blanc has started work as the new interim CEO of Manchester United. Welcome to the United of Sport. My name is Webb, and well, as you were sleeping, well, there's news happening. Manchester United under Ineos is making bold moves now. A man who is rated so highly around the football circles, not just in Europe, but around the world, as he was a former marketing executive at Paris Saint-Germain, then formerly CEO of Juventus. Jean-Claude Blanc, the Frenchman, one of the biggest football brains when it comes to the boardrooms in world football, is also a board member. He's sitting on the board at Manchester United. But because Ineos has been delayed in their acquisition of Omar Berrada, they have decided to first get him down a bit to work as the acting CEO until July. I told you before that Omar Berrada would be starting work as the CEO in July. Now, until then, from yesterday, with immediate effect, Jean-Claude Blanc is the acting interim CEO of Manchester United. Now, here is the official statement that came through from the club that Manchester United has made two further changes to its executive leadership. By mutual consent, Patrick Stewart, who was the interim chief executive officer, and Cliff Betty, the chief financial officer, have decided to leave the club at the end of the season. Patrick will be replaced by as CEO by Jean-Claude Blanc until the arrival of Omar Berrada on July the 13th. Cliff Betty will be replaced as CFO by Roger Bell. Joel Glazer said, "I would like to thank Patrick and Cliff for their dedicated service to Manchester United and wish them well for the future. Both have been a source of invaluable advice and expertise over many years, and Patrick has served an important role as interim CEO during this transitional phase." Sir Jim Ratcliffe commented, "I would like to personally thank Patrick and Cliff for their support in helping us get to know the club and making us feel welcome, and I respect their decisions to now move on as we establish a new management team for the club." That is according to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now, well, these guys are leaving at the end of the season, and then immediately we'll have Jean-Claude Blanc coming. Now, you might ask yourselves, why then have they got to make the moves now? Ineos are saying they don't want to be delayed no more because they don't have so much time to get things done. Remember, there is a lot of work to be done behind the scenes at Manchester United, and what Ineos are banking on is the expertise of the team they have put in place. And Jean-Claude Blanc, like I've told you his profile before and again, that he's a respected executive. He will pick up the phone and call anyone in football in Europe, and they will pick it up and respect him. They will listen to his voice. That's why he sits on the board, and he's the CEO of Ineos Sports, by the way. For the entire Ineos group, the Ineos Sports, he is the CEO. So he's at the top helm when it comes to sport under Ineos. Now, he's going to be coming in an interim spell to set the scene, just to lay ground for Omar Berrada, who is on gardening leave at Manchester City and can only join in July. I think the 13th of July, that's the date they have mentioned as I've read it. Now, the biggest job that this management team is going to do now is to work with Jason Wilcox, as they do hope later on, of course, Dan Ashworth will be joining them, to now come up with a proper transfer plan, so that by the time we get into the summer transfer window in August, everything will be in place. That they will just be now, making things happen. So already you've heard that Manchester United will be open to listen to offers for all the players. So what they are doing is to try and lay grounds, do the final, have the final negotiations with these players, get to discuss with them, what will it mean if you're going to leave, how much money will be the minimum we will take. So all that is work that cannot wait. So the moment the season ends in May, this man will come in now and start immediately working with Jason Wilcox, who is already in place, to start getting the work done. By the time Omar Berrada comes, everything will be rolling. Remember, Sajim Ratcliffe, I said before that the gardening leave was sort of slowing him down. Now, these are solutions. He's creating solutions within what he has, trying to find solutions from what he has. The beauty is, now this is the advantage of having so many experienced players, people working for you when it comes to football. When you have a wealth of experience around you, you can move your pieces. You have options. You can move your pieces according to the situation. Now, you're looking at the chief executive of Ineos Sport, a top football brain, but also a board member at the club, coming in to sit in as CEO, work with the new guy who is already in, Jason Wilcox, get things done so that you don't lose time, because the reality is Manchester United does not have a lot of time. You understand? Manchester United doesn't have a lot of time to get things happening because the idea is by the start of next season, everything needs to be at least put in place. I think they will have done at least most of the big work they need to do away from the pitch to try and get this team as strong as they can. Then on the pitch, of course, they'll have made certain transfer deals already done. Remember, we're expecting a very competitive summer transfer window. Actually, I think this summer transfer window is going to be quite competitive because you look at teams like Chelsea, look at teams like Newcastle, think of teams like Arsenal itself, Liverpool, look at Manchester City. All these teams are going to go in the market and they will spend because they are all not where they want to be. So you need people to be in place early to just audit their squad, this squad, and know which players they want to go for. Because chances are the players that Manchester United will want are some of the players all these other big teams will want to go for in the transfer window, especially if they're also interested in boosting the same positions. Because the world class players are not so many; they are the same, and all these clubs will be looking for the world class players. But also for United, if they're not going to go for the world class players and they're going to go for the youngsters, they will need time again because again the other clubs are also now trying to go into the same approach of having youngsters and then building them for the future. So it's going to be a competitive window, and United has got to be on their A game if they're going to come out and get the players they need. We can't afford to be losing players again to clubs that are ahead of us. So that's exactly why Ineos has been fast to make these moves and, of course, try to put things in place early. By the time we get to the period of the season, or the off season, when things are happening, when the season is done, we have everyone in place and we're just moving, just moving. That's a smart way to move. That's a smart way to work. Because one of the past mistakes that we've been having is trying to do things within the window. Then the season starts and you're still there. You're rushing into things. Your players arrive late. So things have been happening mostly. Waiting for them. You remember in the last summer transfer window, I recall we had to wait for Eric Ten Hag for some time to return from his holiday, off season holiday. I think he was in either Macau or Ibiza or something. I think it was Ibiza, and I'm thinking, I mean, if Eric Ten Hag doesn't, and it's not until he came back that things started happening. So it shows you that the manager needed to be there for things to happen. But if you have these people around him in place already, they will be doing the work, and he will can go have his rest because he's entitled to the rest if he's going to stay. But then work will still be going on with the club. By the time the manager comes, he's just fed with the information, updated, and given the players he needs. Get to work. So all that kills bureaucracy, kills slow processes that have ended up having United go for players that were not their first options. We know that Eric Ten Hag, for example, when it came to centre back last season, he wanted Kim Mije. I think he wanted Kim Mije, but because of the delays in people doing decisions and the sale of players and what have you, the slow guys who are in place, we ended up losing Kim Mije to Bayern. You look at players like I think one of those we are looking at then as again a centre back was Axel Disasi. In the pecking order, there was Todibo, there's Disasi, Kim Mije, who failed to fight to get Axel Disasi. He joins Chelsea, and so many other players. So we ended up having to go for players like Amrabat, who have clearly not given us value, and those were probably third or fourth in terms of the priorities that Eric Ten Hag had. He never really signed his first priority players, and that's why you can cut him some slack. That was because the team around him was not able. The team around him was not well constituted, that they were not in the right place at the right time. They were the wrong people in the wrong place at the wrong time. So obviously, it had now to rely mostly on him as the boss to get things done. So that's exactly what Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are looking to correct. So we are hoping to have a more exciting transfer window, honestly. With Jean-Claude Blanc, this is a powerful guy. He's the reason for Paris Saint-Germain becoming the powerful force that it's trying to become. Leave alone the money. You can have the money, but if you don't have the right people, like United has proven to you over the years, if you don't have the right people to run the money, things won't happen for you. When he was CEO at Juventus, oh boy, he just revolutionized the club. He was on the board of Juventus as well at some times. He's a pioneer of great stuff at Juventus. He's a top guy, guys. He's a top dog that we are bringing in. Well, this United for you, and trust you me, Ineos is making big moves now, and we love to see it. My name is Webb. Subscribe to the United Sport. That's a quick update. I'll be back later with more.